Let's play some baseball. It's the World Series, and these Diamondbacks and Yankees are tired of sitting around. They want to get after one another, and these fans are ready. Let's take a look at these two franchises and the differences therein. Franchise comparison between New York and Arizona. 99 seasons for the Yankees. This is the 4th for the Diamondbacks. Pennants 38-1. World Series titles, the Yankees wrapped up their 3rd in a row last year, their 26th overall. And World Series game experience, the 223 includes experience by Mark Wohlers, who was deactivated prior to the series, replaced by Randy Choate, who has none. Meanwhile, you have 26 games on the other side, represented by 5 players on the Diamondbacks roster. A look at Jerry Colangelo, and now a look at the Diamondbacks, led by Schilling, taking the field. How about the starting lineup for the New York Yankees, brought to you by MasterCard. Curt Schilling will face this in Game 1. Chuck Knobloch leads off in left field with Derek Jeter batting second at short. David Justice hitting third in right field. That was the big Joe Torre decision. It's Justice, not O'Neill. Bernie Williams cleans up. Tino Martinez at first. Jorge Posada, the catcher. Soriano at second base. Scott Brocious is at third base, and Mike Mussina pitching and batting ninth. Since '96, that 9-1 World Series road record. And here's a guy who has been almost unhittable this postseason.
He has given up only 2 earned runs in 27 innings. 3 complete games. Power, power, power. Home runs, yes. Men on, no. He allowed 37 home runs this year, but 31 were solo shots. And that's how he gets the job done, with shoulder-high heat and shoe-high splitters.
And now the defense behind him, the best in the National League during the regular season, committing only 84 errors as a group. Gonzalez, Finley, and Reggie Sanders in the outfield, with Matt Williams, Tony Womack, Craig Counsell, the NLCS MVP, Mark Grace at first base, and Damian Miller, one of the most underrated catchers in the game of baseball, receiving Curt Schilling. There's a look at Craig Counsell, Notre Dame product. There's a look at Damian Miller. He is invaluable to this staff, anchored by Schilling and Randy Johnson. This broadcast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television.
Joe Torre has made no secret. He expects the Yankees to run deep counts. The problem with that, Curt Schilling throws a lot of first ball strikes. He and Rick Reed of the Minnesota Twins led the majors in first ball strikes, with over 70% of the time throwing that first pitch in the strike zone.
It really is the opposite approach we heard the Cardinals take going into a game against Schilling. The Cardinals are at home watching, so let's see how the Yankee approach works as Knobloch takes high for ball 1. Flash bulbs popping around this park as the Diamondbacks host their first World Series game. Schilling, a 22-game winner during the regular season. Knobloch after a pitch that was up, and he pops it up. 1 out.
Shoulder high fastball. That's the one pitch the Yankees have to lay off of. It's understandable to go for that splitter with 2 strikes. But that shoulder high fastball, Curt Schilling has gotten a lot of outs this year on that pitch.
And now Derek Jeter will step in, last year's World Series MVP, and a guy who has hit in 14 straight World Series games. Jeter hitting in front of David Justice. Jeter so far in this postseason hitting .286. And the ALCS was only 2 out of 17. Strike 1. That grazes Jeter on the hands or wrist. And Jeter will go down to first base, hit by the pitch. You can hear it.
Highly unusual for Curt Schilling. He hit only 1 all year, but you could hear it, Joe, right there. It looked like the right wrist of Derek Jeter. Let's take a listen.
So off the right wrist of Jeter into the glove of Damian Miller, and the Yankees have their first base runner as David Justice stands in. Justice digging his way in. One of the reasons why he's in the lineup tonight in his history, 10 out of 28 with 4 home runs against Curt Schilling. 1 on, 1 out. And a breaking ball for a strike.
It's a different Curt Schilling now.
Paul O'Neill saying, I guess I should have taken my at-bats a little more seriously earlier in my career. Since this start was dependent on those at-bats, he's hitting only .211 against Schilling with no home runs in his big league career. Here's an 0-1. 0-2. Bernie Williams, who hit 3 consecutive home runs in games 3, 4, and 5 of the ALCS on deck. You can see at the top of your screen the Fox box. Runner at first. No score, top of the first, 1 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes. That missed the outside corner. 82 miles per hour on that splitter from Curt Schilling. So a runner at first with 1 out. It was 0-2. Now it's 2-2 on David Justice. First throw over, and Jeter stole 27 bases during the regular season. None so far in this postseason back easily. Two-two pitch. Justice loses the bat. He loses the at-bat. He's gone 2 out.
We told you about the shoulder-high fastballs. This is the shoe-high splitter to get David Justice. Hard, heavy, fast.
Bat ending up by Craig Counsell, and now with 1 on, 2 out, Bernie Williams will step in. 16 career postseason home runs for Bernie Williams, who has been right at the center of this run by the Yankees starting in 1996.
Curt Schilling's father died in 1988. His father, Cliff, dying of a heart attack 13 years ago.
That's off the hand, slicing down the left field line. It's a fair ball. Bernie Williams didn't run out of the box. Jeter's running, and he'll score on a 2-out RBI double by Bernie Williams. He had no idea where that ball was. Jeter did, and it's 1-0 New York.
This is a big league check swing. Bernie Williams jammed on the pitch, fights it off down the line. The Yankees are on the board, but Bernie Williams, you're right, had no idea where the ball was. With 2 outs, it was easy for Jeter to run all the way from first and score without a play. Bernie Williams right there. He looked up into the lights, and that perhaps could have blinded. He's not going to go any farther than second anyway.
So he's there with 2 out, 1-0 New York. And Tino Martinez steps in and hits it hard. Womack diving stop, inning over. Jeter hit by a pitch. Bernie Williams' bat hit by a pitch. A double the result, and a 1-0 New York first inning lead. A 1-0 Yankee lead after a half inning. Game 1 of the World Series. The starting lineup for the Arizona Diamondbacks brought to you by MasterCard. They lead it off with Tony Womack, the shortstop. Craig Counsell batting second. Luis Gonzalez hitting third. Cleaning up, it's Reggie Sanders. Steve Finley in center field. Matt Williams at third, Mark Grace at first base, Damian Miller the catcher, and Curt Schilling pitching and batting ninth.
Mike Mussina 2-0 this postseason, or for his postseason this year. A 1.38 earned run average. He has pitched very, very well in the postseason. His first World Series start right here tonight.
And he hits the outside corner with a strike to Tony Womack. Womack, who got the game-winning, series-winning hit in the division series right here at Bank One Ballpark against St. Louis. In Game 5, takes it up and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. .266 hitter during the regular season, 3 homers, 30 RBIs. Mussina, who pitched that all-important turn your series around Game 3 in the division series out in Oakland, is ahead on the count here, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Down 2-0. That division series went back to Oakland. And Mussina with Jeter and Posada combined on a 1-0 win. Posada the home run, Jeter the defensive play as Womack stays up there 1-2.
If there was a game that reminded people of the Yankee mystique, that was it. Remarkable play by Derek Jeter, ranging from behind the pitcher's mound. The little toss to Posada to get Jeremy Giambi, who tried to score from first. A home run by Posada. And a brilliant job by Mussina.
Here's another 1-2 pitch to Womack leading off. Down the left field line, slicing foul. The elements are different at this ballpark, obviously, when the roof is closed as opposed to when it's open. Typically, at least in this postseason, when Schilling and the Diamondbacks have been here at home, he has requested that the roof be closed. It's open tonight. Bob Brenly will tell you down the lines it makes a difference with a wind current as Womack pops it foul back here, and he's having a pretty good at bat here against Mike Mussina.
Especially down the right field line. Left-handed hitters will hook balls into that area, and even right-handed hitters who find balls at tail will have a tendency to stay fair, like the ball Javi Lopez hit in Game 3 against the Diamondbacks in the League Championship Series.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Another foul from Womack. You saw in that graphic 1 swimming pool. Yes, there is a swimming pool here at Bank One Ballpark. It's 98 degrees. It's October 27th. What's wrong with having a pool at a ballpark?
Record-breaking temperatures today with the 98-degree reading. Mussina, meanwhile, wants Womack to put the ball in play in the air, not on the ground.
Another 1-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. Play completed by Posada, 1 away. You know, we have not told the people what the Yankee defense looks like yet. Here's how it looks. Knobloch in left, Williams in center, David Justice in right. No surprises anywhere else. Brocious, Jeter, Soriano, Martinez, Jorge Posada doing the catching. Mike Mussina on the mound. Here's Craig Counsell. Scored the World Series winning run in Game 7 back in 1997 for Florida against the Cleveland Indians. Hit .381 in the NLCS, was the MVP, and that was on top of hitting that huge Game 3 division series home run in St. Louis.
Hitting it off Mike Morris to give the Diamondbacks a 5-2 lead. They went on to win that game.
Here's a 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. A 1-0 New York lead. Jeter was hit by a pitch, scored with 2 outs on a double down the left field line by Bernie Williams. That's a strike. It's 2-1. Tonight, FoxSports.com will give you the chance to instantly first guess against these World Series managers. If the situation presents itself, you'll see a message at the bottom of the screen to vote whether you agree or disagree with a manager's decision. So go ahead and log on to FoxSports.com now so you won't miss the opportunity as Counsell gets into one to right. NLCS MVP, and he ties it here in the first inning of Game 1. Would you like to second guess putting Craig Counsell in the number 2 spot in the Diamondback lineup?
I was going to say, does that apply to us also?
It should. This crowd wants a curtain call, and they get it. His teammates call him Rudy. And Rudy has just tied Game 1 of the 2001 World Series with a first-inning home run. Here's Luis Gonzalez. He went around, strike 1.
His batting stance, you can see that high stance. It's been compared to a chimney sweep who's missed a spot. Homers to tie it here in the bottom of the first inning.
0-2 on Gonzalez. His teammates have come to expect this.
Only 4 home runs in the regular season, his second here in the postseason.
Gonzalez gets it off the end of the bat, and the count still 0-2. He did not hit a home run in that 97 World Series. He just scored the winning run. First career World Series home run. And a second, we had just talked about that Game 3 Division Series home run he hit in St. Louis. He hit 73 this year. Here's an 0-2 to Gonzalez. His first inning, these 3 Diamondback hitters have had pretty good at bats against Mike Mussina, battling after falling behind early in the count.
They're a feisty team with 2 strikes on them. Only the Colorado Rockies struck out fewer as a team, fewer times as a team than the Diamondbacks.
Here's another 0-2 pitch from Mussina. 2 out. So a home run in between 2 strikeouts. As Gonzalez, who is hitting only .237 this postseason, comes up empty.
That's where the St. Louis Cardinals and Atlanta Braves tried to pitch Gonzalez inside. Very effective inside fastball from Mussina.
Now it's Reggie Sanders with 1 home run this postseason. That came in Game 5 of the Division Series. Ball 1 from Mussina.
Home run against the Cardinals. A look at Jerry Colangelo, but Reggie's home run against the Cardinals on a curveball. Mike Mussina features a different type of curveball than anyone in baseball. It's a knuckle curve.
Here's a 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. You know, everybody you talk to on this Diamondback team will talk to you about how this team is perceived. It is perceived as a team built around 2 starters and not much more. No matter who you talk to, even with the year Luis Gonzalez had this season, the talk is about Schilling and Randy Johnson. And Sanders now's in the hole, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Reggie Sanders had a comeback year after a real disappointing season last year with Atlanta. But on down the line, whether it's Womack, Steve Finley, who picked it up in the second half of the year and now has been their most consistent postseason hitter. There's Gonzalez, who had 57 home runs during the regular season. Mark Grace can be counted on for a big hit for Bob Brenly. Where they are in trouble as a group is in their bullpen. Their middle relief, their setup relief, getting to Byung-Hyun Kim. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2-2.
They have nobody dominant in their bullpen like Mariano Rivera, the most dominant closer in the game. Romero Mendoza, the right-hander, excellent for the Yankees, as is Mike Stanton.
On the Arizona side, they lost Brett Prinz, a power right-hander in their bullpen, as well as Matt Manti, their former closer early in the year, as Sanders reaches out and gets a base hit to right. A 2-out single.
What a job of hitting by Reggie Sanders. Watch the rear end. The pitch is in a perfect location. Check it out right here. Rear end out. Base hit to right center field. And with 2 outs, I would suspect Sanders will be off and running the first 3 or 4 pitches if he has an opportunity. That's why you put the speed in front of the left-handed batters. The catcher has a tougher time throwing with left-handed batters up than right-handers.
It'll be up to the combination of Mussina and Posada. Mussina very good at keeping runners close at first base. In fact, this season, opponents stole only 9 bases in 22 attempts against Mike Mussina. Meanwhile, there are the numbers for Reggie Sanders. Steve Finley, strike 1. Steve in his second World Series, a part of the 1998 San Diego Padres. Coming here to Arizona after that season. Had a dismal first half of the year, picked it up in the second half, and as I mentioned, a .364 average this postseason.
May remember that World Series. San Diego Padres had the lead in that game. Tony Gwynn with a home run, but a grand slam home run by Tino Martinez against Mark Langston put the Yankees ahead, and they swept the Padres.
1 ball, 1 strike as Sanders gave it a fake over at first base. On deck is Matt Williams.
That's what a fake break does to a catcher. It makes him get up out of the crouch, often stealing a pitch from his pitcher. That pitch was high, however.
Mike Mussina, who made his name with the Baltimore Orioles, became a free agent at the end of last season. And it was like a college recruiting a high school athlete, with the Yankees trying to convince Mussina that a move to the Yankees and a move to the New York area would be okay. From Montoursville, Pennsylvania. As Finley hits one hard, but Tino Martinez off the bag to get it. The theme music from Rudy. Rudy with 1 out here in the first inning. Hits the home run to tie it. Second inning now, 1-1. First pitch is a ball down and into Jorge Posada with Alfonso Soriano and Scott Brocious to follow. Anybody gets on. The pitcher, Mike Mussina, has the opportunity to hit here in this National League city, Phoenix, Arizona. That's on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Posada, a .277 hitter during the regular season. We showed you a .344 average during this postseason. 1-1 game, second inning. 2 balls and a strike.
We talked about it in the first inning. Curt Schilling's wife, Shonda, sitting next to an empty seat, and the reason for that is that Curt has left a seat for his father in whatever park he pitches since his father died in 1988. That is the seat for Cliff Schilling, left by Curt and his wife Shonda.
Out on the mound, it's Curt Schilling, and the 2-2 pitch is high and tight. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Curt's dad never did see Curt pitch in the big leagues. Second strikeout for Schilling.
A wicked toppling splitter gets Posada. Posada leading the Yankees in strikeouts with 132. That is rare for a switch hitter because he rarely has to bail out against a pitcher.
So Curt Schilling was in the minor leagues with the Baltimore Orioles in 1988. Came up later that season. Early that calendar year, his father Cliff had passed away, and it was really that season where he started to get an idea of what it would take to be a successful pitcher in the big leagues. But it wasn't until after the 1991 season in Houston when he ran across Roger Clemens, who's now in the other dugout. And Roger Clemens had a meeting with him at the Astrodome in the weight room. Said, yeah, I'll talk to you. Curt Schilling wanted to meet him. And it was about an hour-long session where Roger Clemens laid out exactly what Schilling needed to do to be successful. Soriano grounds it foul, and the count goes to 1-2.
Roger telling Curt that if you want it, you have to go get it. Your off-season workouts have to be more strenuous. Nobody works any harder during the offseason than Roger Clemens. Almost a football mentality, and Schilling has adopted that.
A 1-2 to Soriano, reaching out, flying one into right center field for Finley. 2 out. Clemens had just won the Cy Young, his third with Boston at 91 season. And I think Curt Schilling was surprised at what was waiting for him in that weight room that day. And after a short while in Houston, it was on to Philadelphia, where Schilling became the ace of that staff. And as we've told you, he's been in the World Series before in 1993, and his last World Series start was a complete game shutout in Game 5 of that 93 World Series.
Gets the Toronto Blue Jays. May remember Game 4. It was a game won by the Blue Jays 15-14 at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia.
Scott Brosius gets one off the end of the bat. Finley has to come in. Counsell has to go out. Finley cannot make the catch. Brosius into second, safe, and he's there with 2 out.
Steve Finley's first step was back, and then he had too far to run to make the play. The ball hitting off the heel of the glove. Watch the slide, heel of the glove, and I would imagine it's a double for Scott Brosius. Scott taking a chance going to second with Mussina coming up, but it did hit the heel of the glove and bounced away from Finley, but his first step was back. Even though Mussina does nothing here, that could be a big play because at least you clear the pitcher. And in the National League, that's very, very important.
In his career, Mussina 5 out of 30 with 5 RBIs. Runner at second, 2 out. No balls, 1 strike. And Mussina has at least been up there ready to swing the bat. It's 0-2. I don't know that he was in on the hitters meeting as to how to face Curt Schilling, waiting for pitches. He was ready to swing when he woke up this morning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Knobloch on deck.
This is one of the disadvantages when an American League club faces a National League ball club in the World Series in their ballpark. Mike Mussina with only 7 at-bats in interleague play this year.
Chased it. He's gone. Strikeout number 3 for Schilling, who gets around a 2-out blue double. We are in the desert. It is warm. The roof is open. It's the bottom of the second. Game 1 tied 1-1. Bottom of the second inning here in Arizona. It's Matt Williams, Mark Grace, Damian Miller. Anybody gets on Curt Schilling against Mike Mussina, who had a 25-pitch first inning. Williams is not hitting much at all in this postseason. In fact, early in the division series was getting booed by his home crowd against the Cardinals. But when that series returned here to Phoenix, he led off in the 9th inning, hit the double to set up the game-winning rally. In his World Series career, and he has been in the World Series in '89 with San Francisco and '97 with Cleveland. Those are the numbers. No balls, 1 strike. Breaking ball, and Williams' knees buckled. 0-2.
We talked about that curveball with Mike Mussina. It's really a misnomer. Calls it a knuckle curve, and it does have that downward action, but he holds the ball with his fingertips.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
That was another one. For the hard knuckle curve, he holds it with the middle finger and index finger, And for the change on the knuckle curve, he holds it with just the index finger and the thumb. Fastball here.
And fouled back.
Take a look at the scouting report on Mike Mussina. From the windup, batters are hitting .213. The knuckle curve and knuckle change and his east-west effectiveness. He has very good control on the outside and inside corners. He's not particularly a pitcher that keeps the ball down.
On 1-2. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mark Grace on deck. Came up in 1988 with the Cubs. Played there through last year. A veteran, one of many on this Arizona team. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Williams. Terrible swing, 1 out. Bob Brenly, Mark Grace's new manager, has this to say about his veteran first baseman.
There are high maintenance players, there's low maintenance players, and then there's no maintenance players. And Mark Grace is a no maintenance player. He shows up at the ballpark ready to play every day. He never gets caught by surprise by anything that comes up during the course of a ball game. He's always in the right place at the right time. He's the guy you love to see come up to the plate with 2 outs and a couple guys in scoring position, because you know he'll find a way to get him home.
Or he could hit a sinking line drive to a rookie second baseman, almost handcuff him, and become the second out of the second inning.
There was a knuckle curveball, and Soriano, in jumping for the ball, realized in midair that he didn't have to jump for the ball. Check this out. Ball hit very hard, and Soriano jumps up and catches it chest high.
So with 2 out, here's Damian Miller. There's a late swing and strike 1. Damian Miller hit .271 during the regular season. The postseason hitting only .219. But offensive numbers aside, what he does for this pitching staff, Bob Brenly will tell you, with all credit deserved by Mike Matheny of the St. Louis Cardinals, Damian Miller would get his vote for the Gold Glove Award as he gets a base hit into left center field. 1 on, 2 out. Curt Schilling has not only been effective on the mound for the Diamondbacks in this postseason, but he's been good at the plate on the bases. Introduced himself to Javi Lopez. 2 runs scoring on that play, and the combination of Schilling and Johnson ended that National League Championship Series down in Atlanta. Not a bad swing. Strike 1.
That was one of the odder plays in League Championship Series in either league. Chipper Jones coming home with the ball, and obviously it was screened from Javi Lopez, and then Schilling hit Lopez after the ball went by Javi. But a big play in that game.
No balls, 2 strikes as Mussina tries for his 4th strikeout, tries to end this second inning right here. Yankees got a run in the first on a 2-out RBI double by Bernie Williams. It scored Jeter. Been hit by a pitch, and then Craig Counsell homered for the Diamondbacks in their half of the first. Schilling is gone, so is Arizona, and we move to the 3rd inning. Top of the order for each side here in game 1. Tied 1-1. Top of the order for each side. 3rd inning, tied 1-1. Chuck Knobloch, Derek Jeter, David Justice for New York. Yankees playing for the 38th time in the World Series. The Diamondbacks, their first year in 1998. Won the Western Division in 1999. 2000, they finished in 3rd place, 12 games behind San Francisco. And this year, a record of 92-70. 2 games better than San Francisco. Schilling got Knobloch to pop up his first time, misses with ball 1. Knobloch has been involved in 13 different playoff series between his time with Minnesota and the Yankees, and his team has never lost one of those playoff series.
That is one of the more remarkable things. In 1991 with the Minnesota Twins, of course, that was before the league divisional series. In And then 3 straight years with the Yankees, 98, 9, and 2000.
2 balls and a strike from Schilling.
And then, of course, the League Division Series this year and the American League Championship Series.
On 2-1, Knobloch pops it up. Right side for Grace. Got a bad right hamstring, but back to that easily. 1 out. That'll bring in Derek Jeter. Hit by a pitch, scored a run his first time up. And he has a 14-game hitting streak that he brings with him here to Game 1 of the 2001 World Series. So Jeter bats with 1 out, nobody on. 89 hits in his postseason career, and he has reached base now in 64 of 72 postseason games played. And you can look at one statistic after another about this Yankee team and basically the same core group. And when you look at it, a couple of sentences to sum up what they've done since 1996, it is remarkable. And we've been sitting in the booth for a lot of that action. But when you look back on it, it has been an amazing run for this team.
Remarkable how they have spread the success around also.
Hard hit right at Womack.
2 out. They have had 9 different MVPs since 1996 for League Championship Series and World Series. 9.
Let's talk football for a moment. Tomorrow, Fox NFL Sunday begins with America's #1 pregame show as JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris get you ready for kickoff. Then Ricky Williams and the Saints look to gain ground on Kurt Warner and the first-place Rams in an NFC Western Division showdown. Michael Strahan and the Giants take on Stephen Davis and the Redskins in an NFC East battle. Or other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox. Strike 1 as Justice thought he had held up.
Instead of gliding to the ball, David Justice with that leg kick, he thought that was called on the swing. Home plate umpire Steve Ripley called it on the pitch.
Say that again. 9 different MVPs of these different series for this group.
7 are still with the club. And David Justice is one of them.
Here's an 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Justice, the MVP of last year's American League Championship Series. 2 out, nobody on. 1 ball, 2 strikes. See a lot of umpires ducking when Curt Schilling's on the mound. And they put a lot of trust and a lot of faith in Damian Miller, who is sitting in front of him.
You could see home plate umpire Steve Ripley going behind Miller and using the catcher as the guard.
Here's a 2-2. Strikeout number 4 for Curt Schilling. Bottom of the 3rd, still tied 1-1. Mike Mussina back to the hill. Top of the order now for Arizona after the Yankees won in order. Womack, Counsell, and Gonzalez. Womack struck out his first time up. Mussina struck out 4 and allowed 1 run on 3 hits. Strike 1. Tony Womack traded here from Pittsburgh back in 1999. They've asked him to play some second base. They've asked him to play right field. They've relied on him to play shortstop. And he tries to get this offense going for Bob Brenly.
Tony leading the National League in stolen bases in 97, 8, and 9. So if he gets on, look for him to run.
28 this season. The 0-2 pitch. And what did that hit? You could hear it hit something. Womack was caught by the pitch. The home plate umpire has not made Any signal now, and now they'll award Womack first base. Hit the belt buckle. You could hear it hit something, and I thought it might be the bat, but it was Womack's belt buckle.
Yeah.
Let's listen.
It sounded like wood. Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach for the Yankees, and Don Zimmer thought that Tony Womack had swung the bat. Obviously, if he swings, goes through the ball, and it hits it, it's a strike. Did he go around? No. He was trying to get out of the way of the ball, it appeared to me.
With 2 strikes, Womack hit by the pitch. Now we'll see if he does run as Craig Counsell stands in. You know, here you've got Counsell at the plate, a guy who homered his first time up, swinging the bat so well. The MVP of the National League Championship Series. Yet when you talk to each manager in this type situation, the bunt is definitely an option.
Yeah, Bob Brenly is not going to be enamored with the home run here and there by Craig Counsell.
Yankees expecting it. Counsell dropping it down. It's perfect. Now can Mussina get to the base? He got it. 1 out.
It was a good play and a bad play by Mike Mussina. He didn't get to first base thinking that he had a shot at the bunt. Mussina breaking, and now he's confused. He makes a nice play and just gets there ahead of Craig Counsell. Fine recovery by Mike Mussina.
And a good call by the first base umpire, Mark Hirschbeck. So a hit batsman, a sacrifice bunt, runner in scoring position for Luis Gonzalez. Strike 1. The numbers in this postseason, especially the production numbers, just a fraction of what this player provided Arizona during the regular season. 57 home runs, 142 runs batted in. Runner at second, 1 out. Strike 2. Take a look at the career averages through the 2000 season. He averaged per season a .284 average. Averaged 16 home runs. Averaged 78 RBIs compared to this year. 57 and 142 runs batted in.
Off the charts. 100 extra base hits this year for Gonzalez.
But set up here at 0-2. One and 2. Luis Gonzalez, who grew up in Tampa, best friends with Tino Martinez. Rode to school with Tino Martinez. Played on the same high school baseball team with Tino Martinez. Worked in the same cigar factory with Tino's grandfather down in Tampa. Here they are in the World Series. 1-2 pitch. And deep to right. Diamondbacks take the lead. Strike 1 on the inside corner to Reggie Sanders. Barry Bonds, Billy Crystal.
Talk about divided loyalty. Billy Crystal, a minority owner with the Arizona Diamondbacks and a huge Yankee fan.
Now Sanders hops out of there.
What a shot by Gonzalez in orbit.
Sanders singled his first time up. That's foul and out of play.
Mussina tries to come inside, but you can see how much he misses. Posada was sitting outside. Mussina, clearly a mistake. Down and in to Gonzalez. No doubt about it.
Now Reggie Sanders set up at 0-2.
If that were the 7th inning, Mike Mussina would have walked Luis Gonzalez intentionally. But in the 3rd inning, you don't do that.
Sanders 2 for 2.
That will be one of the questions asked Joe Torre in the press conference tonight. Did you think about walking Gonzalez? But Reggie Sanders has been prolific with the bat this year. And he hammers his 2nd straight hit.
Mike Mussina has made some 2-strike mistakes. He was ahead of Sanders 0-2 twice. Sanders is 2 for 2. He was ahead of Luis Gonzalez 1-2, and Gonzalez blasted one into the right field seats to make it 3-1 Arizona. And now with a runner at first, 1 out, Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, at his meeting with Mussina. Posada with Finley coming up.
Joe, a guy who relies on his control. Watch Posada sit outside and watch where the pitch is. He missed by about a yard, and Mike Mussina doesn't miss that far that often.
The infield really shortened up for the Yankees, looking for the double play ball. Sanders at first, and Finley takes ball 1.
Yeah, the faster the batter at the plate, the more shallow the infield has to play in a double play situation.
Finley grounded out to first, back in the first. 3-1 Diamondbacks, 3rd inning. Talked about Sanders with the opportunity to run back in the 1st inning. That same opportunity is there here in the 3rd inning.
Once a manager gets a team down, you try to pile on, and that's what the Diamondbacks will do right now. Good running situation.
Sanders stays put, and it's 2-0 on Finley.
I know a lot of managers like this count on which to run. I think if you run on this count, you compel the hitter to swing, and you take an offensive hitting situation and turn it into a defensive hitting situation. See what Bob Brenly does here.
Not running, and Finley hits it to deep right center field. Back at the wall, Justice dropped it. Sanders will go to 3rd. Sanders will hold. Finley will hold at 2nd on a misplay by Justice in right center.
David Justice, a left-handed thrower, booted it. That should be an error on Justice. Looked like he took his eye off of it, thinking perhaps he was closer to the fence than he really was. Reggie Sanders realizing that if he makes the catch, he can't throw to first and get him anyway. Was all the way down to 2nd base. Steve Finley, on the other hand, thought he had enough of it. Watch Finley round the bag. Steve Finley going all the way around the bag, was about halfway between 2nd and 3rd, but nobody was at 2nd for the Yankees.
They've ruled out an error. Infield in. Matt Williams at the plate. 2nd and 3rd. 1 out. Ball 1.
The Yankees, like most teams, have double cutoff men. The ball hit to the outfield. You're not worrying about the trail runner. That's why Steve Finley, seeing no one at second base, rounded the bag, went halfway between second and third, and then came back.
The Yankees, unlike any other team, sometimes have 3 cutoff men.
Yeah, like in the Derek Jeter play in Oakland in the 7th inning to get Giambi.
Matt Williams, 2 RBIs this postseason. Two balls and a strike.
The Yankees realizing that they are already too far behind Curt Schilling. 2 runs with the way he's been pitching, they can ill afford anymore.
Michelle Williams, Matt Williams' wife, actress. Down toward the end of the bat, shallow right center. Williams makes the catch. Sanders coming to the plate, cut off. Safe over at third, and it's 4-1 Arizona.
Neither Yankee outfielder was in a position to make the throw. Bernie Williams one-handed the ball. That ball had enough hang time for Williams to get in front of it and get in the proper throwing position. But watch David Justice over near the ball. Bernie Williams one-hands it, and now the throw home, not nearly in time. Tino Martinez tries to cut it off to get Steve Finley. That also was late. The reason Finley is running, he's looking and checking Reggie Sanders. He sees him go, and now he goes to third, quite willing to trade an out for a run if the ball is cut off. But a very poor throw by Bernie Williams.
Now with a runner at third, 2 out, the Yankees will intentionally pass Mark Grace, who lined out his first time, and pitch to Damian Miller. Miller on deck. Curt Schilling in the hole.
The proper way to make that catch by Bernie Williams, to make the two-handed catch in front of your plate, in front of your face, instead of catching it off the left shoulder and then bringing the glove around. That takes time. Watch him catch it on the left shoulder right there, and now he brings the glove around, and by the time he gets it out of the glove, Reggie Sanders scores easily.
Now it's Damian Miller, runners at the corners, 2 out. A 3-run Arizona lead here in the 3rd inning. 2-run home run by Gonzalez and a sac fly by Matt Williams. Miller already has a single and had a good rip at that pitch, 0-1. A lineup for Bob Brenly, short on World Series experience, but certainly long on playing experience. The 2nd oldest team in the big leagues. Second only to Seattle, as Damian Miller falls behind 0-2, whether it's Matt Williams, Mark Grace, Steve Finley, Sanders, Gonzalez, up and down this lineup. It is an old team. Old and experienced and hungry for World Series rings. Here's an 0-2. Hard hit, fair, down the left field line. Finley scores. Grace will go to third and hold on an RBI double by Damian Miller. It's 5-1 Arizona.
Mussina tried to drop down on Damian Miller. Damian staying right in there, and the breaking ball hung inside. Another mistake by Mussina. An inside breaking ball hammered down the third base line, just fair. Called fair by Ed Rapuano.
Now it's Schilling with runners at second and third, 2 out. Trying to drop one down for a hit. Strike one.
Just over the corner of the bag, says Ed Rapuano. Very, very close.
2 outs in the inning. Runners on at second and third. Squirts away, but not far enough. Posada, a good job to keep it close. 1 ball, 1 strike. Did this ball go over any part of the bag on its way down the left field line? According to Ed Rapuano, it caught the corner.
From that angle, it looked like a fair ball.
Second and third, 2 out. Schilling. 2 balls and a strike.
Tell you another thing, Joe. Chris Spire, the third base coach, would have sent Mark Grace had he not been suffering from that pulled hamstring. With the pitcher up and 2 outs, you always take a chance of sending that runner, but not with his hamstring problem.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Grace would tell you that hamstring is good enough to play. And he says, I'll just have to take the stolen base out of my approach. He's at third. Miller's at second. 2 out. And Mussina steps off. Mike Mussina in his last 9 starts. 7-0. 2-0 this postseason. Now a full count on Schilling.
Steve Finley, of course, scoring easily on that double down the line. Here's Mark Grace's trip around the bases. You can see a slight limp, and now Chris Spire holding him up at third base.
To the shortstop, Jeter. The Diamondbacks bat around in the third inning. They sent 9 men to the plate in the inning. A 2-run home run by Luis Gonzalez. A hit, an error, a sac fly, an intentional walk, an RBI double. That all followed. And after 3, it's 5-1 Arizona. Curt Schilling has a 5-1 lead. 5 runs on 6 hits for Arizona, coming off a 4-run third inning. 2 of the 4 runs were earned. An error by David Justice in right opened the inning up a bit. Now Bernie Williams with an RBI double, his first time up down the left field line, falls behind 0-1. Only 5 of 38 starts, including the postseason. Curt Schilling allow 5 or more runs. 0-2 on Bernie Williams.
Joe, one of the popular peaks around here, Camelback. I'm sure the New York Yankees feel they're climbing Camelback, being 4 runs behind one of the hottest pitchers in baseball.
Bottom fell out of that pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Curt Schilling, 3 complete game victories this postseason, and tonight 5 strikeouts with a 5-1 4th inning lead. The high school teammates Tino Martinez and Luis Gonzalez, Jefferson High School in Tampa. Second baseman is Luis Gonzalez. The first baseman, Tino Martinez. He was rough and tough even then. After the coach to get to the wild throw, their coach, Pop Cuesta, who is still the coach at Jefferson High School these days.
How proud he must be. Luis Gonzalez, a big 2-run home run, and Tino Martinez with a terrific year this year for the Yankees.
These two guys grew up listening to stories about Lou Piniella, Tony La Russa, Wade Boggs. There have been a handful of others who came out of Tampa to star in the big leagues as Martinez pops it up. Womack out, gives way to Gonzalez, 2 out. Guys like Gooden, Sheffield, McGriff, Tino Martinez and Luis Gonzalez, boyhood best friends, and now opposing one another in the 2001 World Series.
That St. Petersburg, Tampa area, a hotbed for major league stars. There's Doc.
How about that?
Yeah.
Posada takes the ball up and away.
Doc Gooden now an employee for the New York Yankees, working in their minor league system, getting a taste of the executive's life.
And got a taste of the World Series life, as you saw that big ring on his left hand. Also threw a no-hitter for these Yankees after all those years with the Mets. The Mets still have never had a no-hitter thrown in their franchise history, as Randy Choate gets loose for the Yankees in their bullpen. 2 balls and a strike on Posada.
I don't think anybody energized the city of New York any more than Doc Gooden did in 1985, when as a 20-year-old he won the Cy Young Award with a 24-4 record. World Series ring on his left hand.
And a friend who's evidently watching and has his cell number. Part of that Mets 1986 year. And then finished his career in a Yankee uniform. Schilling wants to finish this inning here, and Posada fouls it away. Posada struck out his first time. Grounds to second and past Counsell into right center field for a 2-out hit. So Posada's on, and the inning will continue for Alfonso Soriano.
Good piece of hitting by Jorge Posada. One of the adages about hitting is see the ball before you stride, and Posada did a good job of waiting on that splitter, and the ground ball going under the glove of Craig Counsell.
So now the Yankees ask for something out of their rookie Alfonso Soriano. Soriano with that Game 4 winning home run in the 9th inning against Sasaki in the American League Championship Series last Sunday at Yankee Stadium. The 23-year-old rookie has put together a phenomenal first full season in the big leagues, as he's in the hole 0-2. That's foul. Soriano, the home run in Game 4, 9th inning into right center field. And with that, the Yankees went up 3 games to 1. Won it the next night on Monday night, 12-3, and sent Seattle home. Here's the 0-2. A ball and 2 strikes on Soriano. When he hit that home run, he became the first rookie in Major League history to hit so-called walk-off home run in postseason history.
If you're Curt Schilling right now, you don't give him a strike at which to swing.
Soriano swings, Soriano misses, and that's 6 strikeouts for Curt Schilling. Bottom of the 4th, Diamondbacks bat. They lead it 5-1. Well, Mike Mussina is finished for the night after pitching 3 innings here in game 1, and Randy Choate will throw his first pitches in World Series play, his 3rd career postseason game. He was not active and available to Joe Torre in the Division Series or the ALCS. Added at the expense of Mark Wohlers prior to the game as Womack takes one inside.
It's a very difficult job for Joe Torre to take Wohlers off the World Series roster, but the Yankees felt like they needed another left-hander for situations like this.
That situation is Womack, Counsell, Gonzalez, 3 lefties to start the inning. The Yankees down by 4 in the 4th. Breaking ball bunted in the air. Posada puts it away, 1 out. We came in talking about this pitching matchup, Curt Schilling against Mike Mussina. And look at how Mussina had pitched of late. Last 11 starts, 8-1 record with a 1.32 ERA. An opponent hitting only 172 against him, and that includes his 2 postseason starts this year. That's who was matched up against Curt Schilling. Schilling has allowed 1 run on 3 hits, struck out 6. And Schilling has a 5-1 4th inning lead. Breaking ball is a strike to Craig Counsell, who homered his first time up. Then dropped down a good bunt in that 4-run 3rd inning. Andy Pettitte will get the ball tomorrow in game 2 and face Randy Johnson. 1 ball, 1 strike to Craig Counsell, who with his team down 1-0 in the 1st inning did that to tie the game.
Baseball's a funny game. The home run in the 1st inning, and that's all the Diamondbacks get. And then the sacrifice by Counsell that opened things up for 4 runs in the 3rd inning.
That's on the inside corner, 1-2. Joe Garagiola Jr., who is the general manager of this Arizona Diamondback team, was actually coached as a freshman at Notre Dame on the freshman baseball team by John Counsell, Craig's dad. Craig Counsell, a former World Series hero, strikes out for the 2nd out here in the 4th inning. With 2 out, nobody on, Gonzalez will bat.
Craig going down, a good breaking ball from Choate. Yet Craig's college baseball coach at Notre Dame, Pat Murphy. Pat is now the baseball coach at Arizona State. And when Counsell hit that home run we talked about earlier off Mike Morris in game 3 in St. Louis, Michelle is the wife of Craig Counsell. She called the Arizona State baseball coach, said, "Did you see that?" He said, "I sure did."
How many people in this state said, "Did you see that?"
Did you see that? A lot.
No balls, 1 strike on Luis Gonzalez, who hit a "did you see that" back in the 3rd inning. A no-doubter up into the right field seats to make it 3-1. Base is clear with 2 out, and Gonzalez goes the other way. Fair and down into the corner. Gonzalez with a 2-out double.
What's impressive about this at-bat is that the at-bat before it, Gonzalez went deep down the right field line, and now he peppers the left field line with a double.
With that double, it brings in our Nissan game summary. We're at the bottom of the 4th inning. Mussina knocked out after 3 innings. Schilling faced 16, struck out 6. Gonzalez and Counsell have each homered for Arizona. The team winning game 1 in World Series history has won that series 59% of the time, as Reggie Sanders with a lefty Finley on deck will get the intentional walk. This will set up 2 on with 2 out. The second intentional walk handed out to Arizona tonight by New York.
Think about how the Diamondbacks scored. Tony Womack was hit with a pitch and then sacrificed to second base. And then the two-run homer by Luis Gonzalez. And then after a hit by Reggie Sanders, an error on David Justice in right field. So uncharacteristically, the Yankees with mistakes in that third inning.
There is Finley, who hit that ball that Justice couldn't come up with in right center. Two on, two out. And Finley able to get out of the way of that pitch.
Breaking ball that backs up and almost hits Steve Finley.
Down and in again, 2-0. So Randy Choate on the mound for the Yankees, relieving Mike Mussina, who was finished after 3. The 9th career postseason start for Mussina. In the first 8, he never went less than 6 innings. Here's a 2-0. Base hit right field. Here comes Gonzalez. The throw by Justice into third. Safe there, and it's 6-1 Diamondbacks.
Choate falls behind 2-0. Finley gets a predictable pitch right down the pipe. Hit hard to right field. And the Diamondbacks increase their lead.
In a tighter game, Joe Torre, when he takes the ball from a starter, will typically hand the baseball to Mike Stanton, Ramiro Mendoza, or Mariano Rivera. And while long and setup relief is a question mark for the Diamondbacks in this series, this middle relief is almost transparent for the Yankees. A strike on the outside corner to Matt Williams. Instead of being able to keep relatively close games close, this is where the opposition does its damage against pitchers like Choate, Watasic, Wohlers in the last series, who was inactive for this one. In favor of Randy Choate. Matt Williams grounds to third. It's off the glove of Brocious. Sanders scores. Over to third is Finley. And it's 7-1 Diamondbacks.
An error on Scott Brocious. The ball off the fingertips. I think the error given right here, because Matt Williams is not a fast runner. Obviously, that's taken into account. Second error of the game for the Yankees. So sloppy play and mistakes is added to the Diamondback lead.
Now it's Mark Gray, second and third, 2 out, and the ball low and away. Grace is lined out. He's been intentionally walked. Well hit into right center field. Off the base of the wall. Finley scores. Williams scores. It's 9-1.
Diamondback hitters probably saying to themselves, let's give them something to talk about. And they have thus far.
Damian Miller back to Choate. And a long bottom of the fourth inning for Randy Choate is finally over. 4 runs in the third, 4 runs in the fourth. 5th inning of Game 1 of the 2001 World Series, and it's 9-1 Arizona. Curt Schilling back to the hill. We're in the 5th inning now. 9-1 Arizona as Brocious leads it off. That's strike 1. After the attacks of September the 11th, baseball shut down for 6 days. Curt Schilling wrote a letter on Saturday, September 15th, detailing his feelings on what had gone on and what was to come in Major League Baseball. Part of it I want to read to you. There is no city on this planet, Curt writes, that more represents its nation than New York does in the United States. New York is the true definition of a melting pot. Every race, religion, and color are represented in New York. And on Tuesday, you saw every race, every religion, every color come together as one nation of people fighting for one common goal: to save lives. I can honestly tell you that I've never been as proud to be an American as I was that day, to see the men and women of this great country come together and pour their blood, sweat, and tears into saving those that could be saved. Curt Schilling and teammates will go on Monday, when this series heads to New York, pay their respects and show their support for those who lost their lives and those who continue to work at the World Trade Center. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the leadoff hitter, Brocious. And a pop-up. Finley puts it away, and we hear from Curt Schilling on the mission at hand for himself and for this Arizona Diamondback team.
We believe we belong here. This is what we began spring training playing for. But we're going to have to go through the greatest dynasty in sports to win that, and I think that's appropriate. 4-year-old franchise. You know, Mr. Colenso didn't stick his foot in the door to get into baseball. He kicked it in, and that offended a lot of people, I think, and probably makes people not like us as much as they might like another team, a young team. But the fact of the matter is, we're in the World Series with a chance to win it.
That reference about kicking the door in by Jerry Colangelo, the signing of free agents. 10 of the Diamondbacks have been signed as free agents. Hey, you play by the rules.
Enrique Wilson up the middle. Counsell. Got it. What else is this guy going to do? Woo.
Hits home runs, bunts, and makes this kind of play to get Wilson. I'm not sure Enrique Wilson stepped on the bag. Fine play by Counsell.
Counsell, who will play anywhere defensively. Counsell, who had a roundabout relationship as we look at the play at first base. If Enrique Wilson's foot is on the bag, he's safe, called out. And it's tough to tell from that angle. You thought he might have missed the bag altogether.
I question whether he touched the bag. A lot of times when a base runner will stretch for that first base bag, his timing is thrown off, and he'll miss the bag. Couldn't tell from that angle whether he was on it or not.
Chuck Knobloch with 2 out, nobody on. That's a strike. And it's 0-2.
Yeah, he came up short of the bag. The toe may have touched it, but that's not the normal way you go into first base.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. Knobloch fights it off. Talking about Craig Counsell, who was released in the early part of the 2000 season by the Dodgers. Talked to Joe Garagiola Jr., the general manager here, and their plan was for Counsell to go to AAA, play everywhere, play every day, and work his way back to the big leagues. And while Counsell's a guy who has scored a World Series winning run, as Knobloch checks his swing. I think the Diamondbacks thought the answer might come back. Are you kidding me? Look at my resume. I've been in the big leagues. I've done the minor league thing. Forget it. He's jumped at the chance, went down there, worked his way back to the big leagues. And now with what he's done in this postseason, may have worked his way into a longer term contract than just the year-to-year he's been going with. Here's a 1-2 to Knobloch. Left side for Womack. Curt Schilling doing his thing. Craig Counsell doing his thing. Gonzalez in this game doing his thing. The Yankees not doing their thing. Bottom of the fifth, 9-1 Arizona. Welcome back to Phoenix, Arizona. Bottom of the fifth inning, and the third pitcher of the night for the Yankees is Sterling Hitchcock.
Picked up by the Yankees in midstream. Hitchcock's first game this year was on July 3rd when he was a member of the San Diego Padres. Signed originally with the Yankees, back with them.
Curt Schilling first up, takes the ball. Curt Schilling, who has such a genuine love for the history of this game, named his son Gehrig after all the work that he and his wife have done for a Lou Gehrig's Disease Foundation. A guy who understands how this game was played years ago, and those who put on these uniforms before him. Certainly not the Arizona Diamondback uniform, but an understanding of the Yankee history. Although people thought that when he named his son Gehrig, it meant that he was a Yankee fan growing up. He was not. He was a Pirates fan. As he fouls one off the mask of Posada to even the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Traded to the Diamondbacks in midseason last year from the Philadelphia Phillies, a team with whom he spent 9 years.
Schilling with a count of 2-2. Appeal to first, and Mark Hirschbeck says that Schilling didn't swing. The count full, 3-2. Curt Schilling, who graduated from Shadow Mountain High School here in Phoenix back in 1985, was brought back here with that trade that Tim talked about. Strikes out here to start the bottom of the fifth inning. Yankee Stadium has Monument Park. Here at Bank One Ballpark, they have a pool, and here is our MasterCard fan cam. Dire Straits twisting by the pool.
You're gonna look so cute. Sunglasses, bathing suit, be the baby.
Yes, that was Rick Riley in the pool out beyond the wall in right center. Tony Womack with 1 out, nobody on, takes a strike over the outside corner.
Good town for pool music.
No balls, 2 strikes on Womack.
Guests using the pool must follow ballpark guidelines,
which includes no swimming within 1/2 hour after eating a hot dog. Still 0-2 on Womack. And Sterling Hitchcock draws the ire of these fans as he flips the bat back toward Tony Womack.
Much ado about nothing. He turned around and just kind of flipped it. He had no idea Tony was as close as he was.
Somewhere Roger Clemens is smiling. No balls, 2 strikes. 1-2. On deck is Counsell. There's that man again. Tony Womack has been hit by a pitch. He has scored a run. Brocious got it. What a good play by Scott Brocious with a bare hand pickup, 2 out.
Brocious is the best at this that I've ever seen. Gets it in his bare hand, transfers it somehow to his throwing fingers. He has small hands, and to be able to do it as adeptly as he is just remarkable.
You talk about transferring the ball to the tips of his fingers to throw. That one was almost like he threw a changeup over to first base.
Knowing he didn't have a lot of time with Womack running.
So with 2 out, nobody on, the batter is Craig Counsell. He takes a strike. You can show your support for the Yankees or Diamondbacks with an MLB Authentic Collection World Series cap. Call 1-800-365-0800 to get your player quality cap right now.
I heard that line about Craig Counsell the other day, that he holds the bat like a chimney sweep who missed a spot.
Mary Poppins. Counsell strikes out. Second strikeout in the first inning of work for Sterling Hitchcock. Curt Schilling goes back to the hill. 6th inning now, game 1. 9-1 Diamondbacks. As we get ready for the 6th inning, tonight's in-game box score brought to you by John Hancock. Chuck Knobloch 0 for 3 at the top of this lineup. Jeter hit by a pitch, and Bernie Williams a 2-out RBI double in the first inning. Otherwise, Schilling has been in control as the 6th inning rolls in. Here's Derek Jeter, and there's a strike.
Joe, I think Bob Brenly's got to be thinking about taking Curt Schilling out of this game right now. He's thrown 70 pitches. He's got an 8-run lead. I know you don't have a good bullpen.
Just a shattered bat picked up by Grace. The ball is, the bat ends up stuck in the ground off to the side of the mound, and Jeter is 0 for 2.
Boy, that is a jam job right there. Sawed off right above the hands. All Jeter had was the handle going down to first base. I'm sure it's running through Bob's mind right now, because again, if the Diamondbacks are down 2-1 on Wednesday, then Schilling would be the pitcher again.
Justice hits it deep with foul.
And that would be with only 3 days rest. Once again, Derek Jeter, that bat sticking in the ground.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you're thin in the middle, that's one thing. It's a 9-1 game here in the 6th inning. This inning may determine what Bob Brenly does, facing the 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Yankees. But Bob Brenly was visited by both Curt Schilling and Randy Johnson during the off time. And they came to him and said, look, you've done a good job protecting us all year, keeping our pitch counts down, leaving a lot in our tanks. But if we get the opportunity and you need us, we are ready to work on short rest. And again, if the Diamondbacks are up 2-1 or 3-0, Miguel Batista would start game 4 in New York. However, if they are down in the series, Curt Schilling likely takes the ball. And if that's the case in a 9-1 game, as he is getting up toward 80 pitches, it's time to at least start thinking about taking him out of the game.
I think you're right. I think the key is this inning. If he can get through this inning unscathed, perhaps the Diamondbacks and Bob Brenly will have someone throwing in the bullpen.
His 76th pitch of the night. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Justice. Justice 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. The reason he's in the lineup and Paul O'Neill isn't is because of his history against Curt Schilling. As you said back in the first inning, this is a different Curt Schilling than the pitcher David Justice has faced before. Different stuff. The forkball's better. His velocity is just incredible, to the point where Bob Brenly is stunned that in the 8th or 9th innings, as he's gone through this postseason with 3 consecutive complete games, he can still get it to the plate at 98 miles an hour.
His velocity actually increases the last 3 innings.
The 2-2 to Justice. It'll stay that way. So 78 pitches. Heart of the order here in the 6th inning. Right now, Justice, Bernie Williams on deck. 1 out, nobody on. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and a full count. Diamondbacks will turn to Randy Johnson tomorrow night. Yankees will turn to Andy Pettitte. It stays full on David Justice as Schilling tries to avoid his first walk of the night.
That's an example of what you're talking about. A major league fastball hitter looking for and getting a fastball and still fouling it back the other way. That's an example of how Curt Schilling just overpowers hitters.
A little wink as he accepted that sign, and why not? When you can throw 94 miles per hour, pick up your 7th strikeout. 2 out, nobody on, and here's the Diamondbacks manager Bob Brenly talking about his pitching rotation for the rest of this series.
As far as the pitching rotation goes, in a perfect world, we'll go Schilling, Johnson, Anderson, Batista. We plan on going with 4 starters, but you know, knowing the magnitude of these games and the fact that there's no reason to save anybody past this point, if we need to bring the 2 big guys back on short rest, that's something we're willing to do.
With 2 out, nobody on, Bernie Williams takes ball 1.
Bob, with a marvelous sense of humor, says neither Randy Johnson nor Curt Schilling will be pitching winter ball this year.
So why save them? Randy Johnson, 6'10", 235-pound left-hander, is 2-0 against the Yankees in the postseason. That was back in 1995 in the division series. 1 start, 1 relief outing. 2 balls, no strikes on Bernie Williams. Two and 1. Meanwhile, the Yankees are 17-5 when Andy Pettitte starts a postseason game. Bernie Williams hitting .271 now in his career in the postseason. Off the plate, Counsell in, backs up. Inning over. A 1-2-3 inning for Curt Schilling. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning here in the desert. 9-1 Diamondbacks. Curt Schilling and Randy Johnson talking it over on the Diamondbacks bench. Bottom of the 6th inning. Arizona bats Luis Gonzalez, Reggie Sanders, and Steve Finley. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters against Sterling Hitchcock, who had a perfect 5th inning, his first inning of work. Strike 1.
Curt Schilling and Randy Johnson, professional friends. Curt Schilling has been helping Randy with his splitter. Johnson just started throwing it this year. Constantly talked between innings.
Gonzalez down the right field line. Foul ball. And really, it's Schilling who says the last guy to really get him over the hump with regard to his preparation for a game is Randy Johnson.
Yeah, they complement one another in that regard.
The 0-2 to Gonzalez, chased it, 1 away.
Not only does Curt Schilling talk to Randy Johnson between innings, but he talks to his catcher. Slider. Fastball. Slider. Slider. Okay, I'll go with the slider. And then he throws the slider to Bernie Williams. That missed. Pretty big advantage when you can tell a hitter what's coming and then do it.
What are we missing?
You know, sometimes pitchers don't realize they do things. A lot of times they'll want the ball outside to a left-hander, and they'll nod their head to the right, or their heads to the right. If they want it outside to a right-handed batter, sometimes they'll say they don't want to go through the sequence of signs again. So they'll nod to the left. They'll say, yeah, I want that pitch, but I don't want it there. Over the other way. Not all pitchers do that.
Not many pitchers are good enough to do that and get away with it.
That's right.
Schilling is obviously one who is. And as you say, he may not even be aware he's doing it.
I bet he isn't.
You hear so many times about a struggling pitcher and they'll say, well, we figured out that he was tipping his pitches by the way he held the ball in his glove. Schilling is just telling the hitter what's coming. I guess he's tipping his pitches. Here's tonight's box score for the Diamondbacks, brought to you by John Hancock. Hits, runs all over the place. Tony Womack, time he scored a run, he was hit by a pitch. Counsell a home run in the first inning. Gonzalez a 2-run homer to put the Diamondbacks up 3-1. Reggie Sanders a couple of hits. Damian Miller 2 out of 3 with an RBI. The home run by Gonzalez, a 2-run homer back in the third inning with a game tied 1-1. It's 9-1 as Finley takes ball 1, and Finley has been on base twice. He's hit the ball hard really 3 times. You see the postseason average of 361. He has been their most consistent, if not thrilling hitter. I think thrilling is Counsell. Consistent is Finley. 1-1.
The layoff has not appeared to hurt the Diamondbacks. That's an understatement. Their last game, last Sunday night, clinching in Atlanta.
Yet it's the Yankees who are used to having time off within a postseason,
right,
and cranking it back up. We walked into the Diamondback clubhouse yesterday and the day before. They were bouncing off the walls. They couldn't wait to get out there and play. At least 2 guys said, now we know what it's like for those NFL players who used to have to wait 2 weeks prior to the Super Bowl after the conference championship. But they have come out, they have been ready, and they have taken it to the world champion Yankees tonight. Finley strikes out, and Sterling Hitchcock has been perfect in his 2 innings of relief work, striking out 4 along the way. It's still 9-1. 7th inning now. Back after this from your local Fox station. 3rd inning, a 4-run 4th inning, 9 runs on 9 hits, while the Yankees have only 3 hits. Schilling has retired 13 of 14 as he deals with Tino Martinez. Ball 1. That's pitch number 86 on the night. We've already stated our opinions that the Diamondbacks have to think about going to their bullpen if Schilling is a possibility for game 4, if the Diamondbacks, assuming they win here tonight, lose games 2 and 3.
Saw Bob Brenly talking with his bench coach Bob Melvin. Bob Welch, the pitching coach, between innings, convening around the lineup card in the Diamondback dugout.
Here's a 2-ball 1-strike pitch. Martinez pops it into left center field. Finley 1 away. 14 out of 15 retired by Curt Schilling.
The World Series on Fox is presented by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
1 out, nobody on with Posada digging in case you're wondering what the biggest comeback is in postseason history. It's an 8-run deficit that the A's came back from to defeat the Cubs 10-8. It was 8-0 after 6.5 innings. And the A's came back to beat Chicago. The A's won in 5 games that year. As Posada takes ball 1. That is the only time a team has come back from an 8-run deficit in any postseason game. The Yankees' biggest come from behind win was the 6-run deficit they had after 5 innings in the '96 World Series game 4. Game that was tied eventually on that 3-run home run by Jim Leyritz. One out, nobody on, 2 balls, no strikes, and now 3-0.
Yankees scoring 3 in the 6th in that game and 3 in the 8th. The home run by Leritz. They won it on a walk to Wade Boggs with the bases loaded. And they came back behind Andy Pettit to win 1-0 in Game 5 and then won Game 6 at Yankee Stadium.
3-1 from Schilling to Posada, who's 1 for 2, has one of the 3 Yankee hits. Bernie Williams and Brocious have the other 2. That's the first walk of the night from Curt Schilling, and it comes with 1 out here in the 7th.
As you and I both know, Joe, having worked with Bob Brindley, we understand how quick a learn he is. And you got to believe that he learned something from Torre last year, because Joe Torre, it's his opinion that there is no long haul in the World Series. You play to win 1 game that day and don't look to tomorrow. And the way Bob Brindley is leaving Curt Schilling in the game right now, that appears to be his thinking. Forget about tomorrow. Sew today up.
Yet if you're the Yankees, there is something left in this game. If you're going to go down the line with Schilling, make him get his pitch count up.
Sure, sure.
Take pitches, get into that battle mode, and make him throw to get through 7 or get through 8 or whatever his night might be.
If he beats you, make it as difficult as you can make it on him.
With an eye on Game 4. A 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Bob Brindley is trying to strike that balance between sewing up Game 1, between sticking with Schilling, leaving him out there, and using that bullpen, getting some innings, and keeping the pitch count down, which is still under 100 for Schilling, but it's getting up around the 90 mark, with an eye on Game 4 if the Diamondbacks are down in this series. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Soriano. Schilling has struck out 7.
Again, he'll try to go out of the strike zone to get Soriano. If Soriano has a weakness, and he will get better at that, it's pitch selection with 2 strikes.
On 1 and 2, Soriano lifts it into left center field for Finley. 2 out. Just to further the point, if Schilling gets through this top of the 7th inning and it stays 9-1, no matter if the Diamondbacks score in the bottom of the 7th inning or not, I personally would be surprised if Schilling went back out there for the 8th inning.
Yeah, I would be too.
Schilling is into this mode now where he's winking as he comes to the set position after getting his sign from Damian Miller. I've seen him do it twice. He did it just prior to that last pitch. Not that time. The 0-1. 95 miles an hour up and out over the plate, fouled back as Paul O'Neill comes into the on-deck circle. 100 pitches now on the night for Curt Schilling. There's an 0-2. Brocious with a bloop double back in the 2nd. Fly to center in the 5th. And now trying to at least avoid becoming the 8th strikeout victim for Schilling. Tonight's game is being seen live around the world by U.S. servicemen and women, including those of the USS Enterprise in the North Arabian Sea. Please remember, Radio Shack is a collection site for the September 11th Fund benefiting survivors, victims, families, and rescue personnel. The September 11th Fund is a collaboration of the United Way, the New York Community Trust, and the Council of Foundations. We welcome you back to the bottom of the 7th inning, a 9-1 Arizona lead in game 1. Matt Williams taking ball 1 from Sterling Hitchcock, who has been perfect in 2 innings of relief work. 2-0.
And both Mike Morgan and Miguel Batista are warming. So Bob Brenly thinking, if I'm going to pinch hit for Curt Schilling, and Schilling's spot is due up 4th, I might as well get some production out of it.
Williams gets a base hit up the middle. First hit for Matt Williams. He's also reached on an error and driven in a run with a sac fly. Here's our Pepsi game summary. Bottom of the 7th inning. Yankees 9 runs allowed, the most by the Yankees in World Series play since 1996 game 1. The numbers for Schilling, and he is likely finished. Gonzalez a 2-run homer and a double. And the Yankees postseason since 1996 5-0 series record after losing game 1. They trail 9-1 as Grace takes a strike. Grace has lined out, been intentionally walked, and driven home a couple with a double back in the 4th inning.
Just speculating, because the Diamondbacks appear to be having the best of both worlds tonight, winning handily and with the opportunity of resting Curt Schilling.
2-1.
And bringing him back, maybe, and of course this is just speculation on my part, but bringing him back whether they're down 2-1 or up 2-1. That's the option Bob Brenly has with his ace right-hander.
Grace hits it hard into right. Justice. 1 out. Mark Grace, who came into this game with a career postseason average of .356, has had good swings all night. The Yankees walked Grace back in the 3rd inning to get to Damian Miller. Runners on at 1st and 3rd, and 2 out. Miller doubled down the left field line. He's 2 out of 3. The RBI on that double back in the 3rd inning is first of this postseason, way out in front of a changeup. 0-1.
Damian Miller with a very, very difficult LCS. Hit between the legs with a foul tip. Swelling has gone down, and he's fine right now, but I was commiserating with him yesterday when the Diamondbacks were working out, and Damian said, there is no way my 6-year-old is going to be a catcher. No way. He said, so you'll be more inclined to give him a stethoscope instead of a mitt. He said, yep.
Miller can't hold up, and they count 1-2. Jay Bell is in the on-deck circle. Barring a double play here in this 7th inning, it appears Bell will hit for Schilling. Miller strikes out, 2 out. 5th strikeout for Hitchcock, who has pitched well. Tomorrow it's game 2 of the World Series presented by Budweiser. The matchup of a couple of dominating left-handers. The Yankees send Andy Pettitte to the mound against the Diamondbacks' Randy Johnson. First ever World Series appearance for Randy Johnson. Game 2 of the World Series begins tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific here on Fox. Jay Bell announced as the pinch hitter for Randy Johnson. There'll be a special moment tomorrow night during the pregame show when Ray Charles will be here singing America the Beautiful. So tune in early tomorrow night to watch Ray Charles sing during the pregame show. Batting for Schilling, it's Jay Bell. 1 on, 2 out, and that's foul down the left field line. So Schilling, his night. 0 for 3 at the plate and on the mound. 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hits. And there is Miguel Batista getting ready to work the 8th inning. Bell. That's on the inside corner. And how about Sterling Hitchcock? 3 innings, 6 strikeouts, only 1 hit. We go to the 8th inning of game 1. 9-1 Diamondbacks. Curt Schilling is finished after going 7 strong innings for Arizona. And Paul O'Neill swinging at the first pitch he sees from Mike Morgan. Pops it up to short, 1 away. And Batista, Morgan getting loose. It's Morgan who gets the nod, and there are the numbers this postseason for Mike Morgan, who came to the big leagues back in 1978.
And has never been in a World Series, and there is nobody any happier than Mike Morgan. That's on both teams. Speaking of teams, he has been with 12 of them, as Mike Stanton, the left-hander, will be the pitcher in the bottom of the 8th for Joe Torre's Yankees.
1 out, nobody on. Knobloch takes a strike. Knobloch 0 for 3. He's popped up twice, grounded out. That was against Schilling. Again, Schilling 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, hit a batter, and is in line for his 4th win of this postseason. In his 8th postseason start, about to up his record to 5-1. Inside corner, and really no complete game tonight to continue that string because of what is potentially to come later in this World Series.
No reason to do it. Tell you, Joe, you look at the rosters of both these teams, the Yankees, with their remarkable success since 1996, and on the other side, staring at them, the only player who has played on a World Series champion is Craig Counsell, as a member of the Florida Marlins in 1997. Schilling has been in the series, but not on a winner. The '93 Phillies lost to Toronto.
Swindell, the lefty. Batista still throwing down to the bullpen for Arizona. 2-2 pitch to Knobloch. Off the hands on 1 hop to Womack. Low throw, but out, 2 away. Derek Jeter now, whose hitting streak is in jeopardy here with this at bat. He's hit in 14 consecutive World Series games. He's been hit by a pitch, scored a run, grounded out twice. Two out, bases empty. Ball 1.
I think Curt Schilling was glad the roof was open tonight. Normally, he requests that they close the roof here at the Bob, as the locals call it, Bank One Ballpark. Not tonight.
And then when the question was posed to Randy Johnson as to whether he wanted it opened or closed, he said, well, what does Curt want? What did Curt say? What was his answer?
I got to believe it's going to be open tomorrow night.
Here's a 2-0. 2 balls and a strike.
From what Curt Schilling has told us, the ball carries better here in Phoenix with the roof open than it does when the roof is closed.
Not much good contact against Schilling tonight, while on the other side, Counsell hit a 1st inning home run. Gonzalez hit a 3rd inning home run. 2 balls and a strike, and Jeter hits it to deep center field. Back is Finley to end the inning and possibly end the hitting streak for Derek Jeter. It may come to a close at 14 straight World Series games. Bottom of the 8th inning, 9-1 Diamondbacks. Well, some changes as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning with a 9-1 Arizona lead. David Justice switches from right field to left field. Paul O'Neill, who pinch hit and popped up, is in the game in right. That means Knobloch is out, and occupying his spot in the order is the new pitcher, Mike Stanton.
Mike Stanton in, obviously, to get some work this evening, pitching just 1 inning. There's no way Joe Torre can keep him out of tomorrow night's game if necessary. What a postseason career Mike Stanton has had. First with the Atlanta Braves and now with the New York Yankees.
Tony Womack first up. Womack hitless, but he was hit by a pitch, scored a run back in the 3rd inning. Counsell and Gonzalez will follow. Goes after the first pitch, shallow left center. Bernie Williams, nice running catch, 1 out. That'll bring in Craig Counsell, who's been busy here in game 1. A first inning home run to tie the game 1-1. First World Series home run, and then a diving stop to rob Enrique Wilson of a hit back in the 5th inning. And here he is with 1 out, nobody on in the 8th. Ball 1 from Stanton. So this has got to be in the category of unexpected with this offensive outburst by Arizona coming in, averaging just over 3 runs a game in the postseason leading into this game 1 of the World Series. Overall hitting only .235.
And facing a very difficult Mike Mussina, who for the last 5 weeks has been as hot as Curt Schilling or Randy Johnson.
Schilling has done his job. Now it's Randy Johnson tomorrow night. Good play by Soriano. First year at the position. And a good play to his right, 2 out. That brings in Luis Gonzalez, proud dad of triplets, born June 26th of 1998. Megan, Jacob, and Alyssa. And they love that home run that daddy hit. A 2-run shot back in the 3rd inning to put the Diamondbacks up 3-1. They lead it 9-1. A homer, a double tonight in between 2 strikeouts. And a ball outside. For these hitters, guys like Counsell, Womack, Gonzalez, happy that they get a look here at Mike Stanton in a blowout game.
Tuck it away for later on when facing Stanton in a more important situation.
Tino Martinez takes care of his boyhood friend. Martinez the play to his right to retire Gonzalez. We go to the 9th inning. It's 9-1 Arizona. A 9-1 Arizona lead as this game 1 moves into the 9th inning. The Arizona Diamondbacks team now has Greg Swindell on the mound, veteran left-hander. The average age of the players on this Arizona team, 32 years, 133 days. And the 2nd oldest in the major leagues this season to Seattle, as Spencer pops it up on the infield. One out.
There it is right here. You can see the position players. The 42-year-old Mike Morgan, the oldest on the team. Randy Johnson starts tomorrow. He's next oldest. Only 3 players on the roster from the original expansion list of players drafted back in 1997. November of 97. Excuse me.
Only 5 players on this roster with any World Series experience. 1 out, nobody on. Bernie Williams. Strike 1. The Yankees in search of their 4th consecutive World Championship. Are down 9-1 here in the 9th inning of Game 1. It'll be a different looking lineup tomorrow night for the Yankees against the hard-throwing left-hander Randy Johnson. Out of play in the count, 1-2. Expect Velarde in the lineup for New York. Expect Shane Spencer in the lineup.
Paul O'Neill will not get his first start until Tuesday night. And David Justice will be sitting tomorrow. But perhaps not Tino Martinez. Maybe, said Joe Torre.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Williams. Saw that coming up after this game, your late local news. Yankees in World Series play. Last time they had 3 or fewer hits. Game 3 against the Dodgers, that 1963 season, when the Yankees faced a similar 1-2 punch at the top of the rotation for the Dodgers. Koufax and Drysdale. Still 2-2. That was Drysdale's game.
Sandy Koufax striking out 15 and beating the Yankees in Game 1. And then it was Koufax who won the clincher in Game 4. So Koufax with 2 wins, Drysdale with 1 in the '63 series.
Padres got the other.
Padres, Johnny Padres, right.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Williams. 1 out, nobody on. 9th inning. 2 out.
Yankee fans need no reminder that in 1963, with those 2 guys pitching, Koufax and Drysdale, the Yankees scored a total of 4 runs in 4 games.
Tino Martinez now with 2 out, nobody on. Spencer popped up. Williams struck out. Greg Swindell trying to finish what Curt Schilling started. Ball 1. Martinez 0 for 3. Joe Torre wanting to see the kind of at-bats that Tino Martinez got in Game 1 before deciding if he would be in the lineup in Game 2. That's foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You have a lefty on a lefty right now with Swindell against Tino Martinez. But there is no left-hander in the world who can give you what Randy Johnson gives left-handed hitters. Fits.
Two balls and a strike. The Yankees facing their 4th consecutive different opponent in the World Series. San Diego, Atlanta, the Mets, now Arizona. And the Diamondbacks are 1 strike away from a 9-1 victory here in Game 1. Behind Schilling. Clemens slated to go in Game 3. Three and 2. A 2-out walk. That'll bring in Jorge Posada. There is action for the Diamondbacks in their bullpen, but not with Posada coming up, the switch hitting catcher.
Might think that odd, Greg Swindell throwing a slider on a 3-2 count when he's 8 runs down with 2 out in the 9th inning. But a lot of pitchers, Swindell included, think that they can get the slider over as well as they can the fastball.
Now it's Posada, who has struck out, singled, and walked. Into left center field, pretty well hit. Back near the track, Finley. Diamondbacks win game 1.
How many starting pitchers do you see go out on the field to shake hands with the guys who provided the offense? Not many.
It was Curt Schilling on the mound and hitting up and down this Arizona Diamondback lineup. Yankees got the first run. The Diamondbacks got the next 9. We'll come back and wrap it up after this break from your local Fox station.